So, I think we are online. Welcome all to this forum meeting. This is Creative Europe Project Edu 3.3. This is a kickoff of expert forum. We have people in Ukraine, Estonia, and Finland. And today we try to create ground of that discussion, how challenging it's to rebuild the new nation and cities and buildings. I'm Kari Mikkelä from Urban Mill. I'm co-moderating this together with Mikko-Pekka later and Igor in the other end. And what is the purpose of this event is that we try to look all the different angles which are in the city development, both short term and long term. So it's a challenging and almost wicked, impossible thing. But to show that it's not only construction or technology, it's also about people and it's cities, it's energy thing. And today we go through that. And in the end of the project, we hope that we have about 300 experts in this row, and we have learned to have dialogue and to look the challenges. But now I give the word to Igor in Kiev. You can tell who are there, you are there, and what we are doing in the project.
Hello, everyone. So, first of all, thank you for visiting our forum. Thank you, first of all, for our defense forces in Ukraine that we have such an opportunity to be here. And thank you for sure for all our partners all over the world, and especially European Union, and especially Estonia and Finland. We appreciate your support, and we need it. And for sure, we hope that we will find peace soon, find our victory soon, and together we will move to sustainable and developed Europe. So we are having today not so easy task in terms of technical aspects. So I'm sure that everyone who now choose interpretation into Ukrainian hear us well, and all also who listens us in English, it's also everything is working. If not, please someone give us a sign. We will try to fix this issue. So my name is Igor Kamendo. I'm director of NGO Go Local, who is supporting the implementation our European Design Upgrade 3.0 project in Ukraine. Also, today we have couple of people, experts, business representatives here with us. Today we have Olga Batova, CEO of Saint-Gobain. She will join us in Ukrainian part on Ukrainian panel. Today we also have Kateryna Tkachuk, who is a European Design Upgrade 2.0 finalist. She's a designer also, and she also joined us in the panel. And next, what I'm wanting to give you a short overview of what we're gonna do and what we are planning to do in a European Design Upgrade 3.0. Does everyone sees my screen?
Yes.
Yes, I will try to do it in a slide mode like this. Okay, so our European Design Upgrade Project 3.0 is a third iteration of international project which we were implementing together with our Finnish partners Urban Mill in UltraHack in 2020, and it mostly was aimed at giving opportunities for designers to find new solutions and to cooperate on the European level with each other. So this year it's already third iteration. Second iteration was fully implemented in Ukraine, but our third iteration is again an international project. So it is implemented by K-Fund, Vasily Khmelnytsky charitable organization, which is a consortium leader. On our Finnish side, we have two organizations: Urban Mill, which is a space, a community and a service situated in Aalto University, ecosystem supporting, innovation supporting organization. And on the Finnish side, we have UltraHack, which specializes on hackathons and being an innovation platform for acceleration. On Estonia side, we have Brand Manual, is a service design branding consultancy, and also, like I said, I'm a director of NGO Go Local, which supports the implementation of European designed upgrade projects in Ukraine. So this year we are focused on modular construction and modular building. We didn't choose this topic accidentally. For sure, we understand that Ukraine now is in a very unique position, and everything which is connected to the internally displaced people, to construction, to rebuilding, is very, very actual and very, very important for Ukraine and Ukrainian citizens. So our project is focused on modular housing and innovative solutions that can be produced in modular housing. What's our project for? Our project is for, first of all, designers, construction experts, architects, and engineering professionals. So we invite them to join our project. The second big target group is for sure business. We engaged business to participate in the form of experts, in the form of so to say innovation movers in our project and for sure we invite municipalities as a potential field of implementation of ideas, projects, and resolutions that will be developed in the frames of our project. And for sure, we invite to our project young graduates and students from universities that focus on architecture, design, and construction. So why it is interesting for our participants to participate? Because we want to engage our target groups in transnational and interdisciplinary groups. We want to connect business representatives from Finland, Estonia, and Ukraine, and sure from other European countries. And for sure, we want to establish and be a platform of experience exchange and joint endeavors in rebuilding Ukraine. So shortly about our program. So today we are on our opening expert forum, which is hosted by Urban Mill. The second stage of our project is skills upgrade sessions, and in this regard, I want to ask to say a couple of words. So to say, a host of this stage, Margus from Brand Manual. Margus, are you here with us?
Yes, I'm here. Yeah, so at the end of the week, we have a skills upgrade session where we're going to introduce design thinking as a means of understanding how the whole process for a modular building from sketch to construction to deconstruction could look like, and what areas to take into consideration, and how to do some research in time for the hackathon, which is then at 11th to 13th of April. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Margus. So the third stage after the skills upgrade session is hackathon. So I would like to ask our partner from UltraHack, Jana, to say a couple of words about this stage.
Hi, yes, this is Jana from UltraHack, and as Marcus just mentioned, the hackathon will take place from the 11th to 13th of April. The registration deadline is the 29th of March at midnight EET, so please do go to the location the QR code will take you to, or ultrahack.org, and click on the Modular Housing Hackathon to submit your team and your idea. We'll review those ideas and select those to invite to the hackathon, and see you there.
Thank you, Jana. And so the last stage of our activity of our Edu 3.0 project is a final forum in Estonia, where we will award best projects, best concept, and will develop conclusions on what we've managed to achieve within our program. So that's the final slide of my presentation. I will stop it. Kari, like we know, everything in our world is constantly changing, and we can't predict. You remember, like we started implementation of our Edu, first iteration of Edu in 2020 when the coronavirus started. And now we are implementing our projects even in a more unique and hard situation for Ukraine and for Europe as a whole. We wanted to start with also with a quick presentation of our experts on your side, our participants. So please, I give this floor to you, and we need to compensate what we initially planned.
Thank you, Igor. It was really last time so that when they visited here before Corona, and then Corona started, and we had to make it whole virtual and partly hybrid on that type. But let's go through who are people there. Could you, Marko, start and go that way and tell who you are, where you come, what's your background or expertise in less than 30 seconds?
Hello everybody, my name is Markus Vähälä, I come from Vantaa, Finland. I'm the CEO of Citizen Network, a cooperative of 22 organizations from New Zealand to United States, supporting 280 organizations working on citizenship-led community building around the world. I'm very glad to be here today.
I am Timo Nyberg and representing Aalto Advisors, partner of EIT InnoEnergy, and I'm an education director and mostly giving education on entrepreneurship.
Hello, my name is Anders Nordström and I come from a company, Vision, and in the construction industry. And we are specialized in integrated project delivery, IPD. That means to procure, set up and steer construction projects so they will be a successful outcome.
Hello, my name is Teemu Lehtinen. I'm the CEO of KiraHub, which is a joint innovation hub for the real estate and construction sectors here in Finland. Mostly working on digital transformation of the built environment. I've been working in different roles within the digital transformation of the real estate and construction sectors for the past 16 years now. So there's quite a bit of experience.
Hello, my name is Seppo Törmä and I come from Metropolia University of Applied Sciences, and I'm a principal lecturer in the area of digitalization of construction. And basically the areas where I'm working on are building information modeling, as-built models, digital twins, deconstruction, and so on.
Hello, I'm Jarmo Suominen. I'm a professor in environmental design. I work in Aalto, used to work in MIT and now in Kanttia in Shanghai. My focus is in ecosystems. Even though I'm an architect, I'm looking how the built environment could be supported with new technologies, new operations, and new business models. So that instead of thinking about modular housing, I would love to think about modular living and how the housing will support that.
Hello, I'm Jari Kujala. I'm focused on community building. I'm actually a student here working for my thesis. It's about how to deal with failures between different workers and multidisciplinary groups. Okay.
I'm Eevaliisa Härö, architect, landscape architect and urban designer. I'm just leaving my daily work at Rumble behind and having good time for this kind of work. I'm interested on space between the houses and on infrastructure and being as an architect in such designing, and very interested on ecosystems.
Hello everyone, I'm Tommi Kalenius. Thanks Kari and Igor for the invitation. I'm interested about creative sector, especially music ecosystems, and I work in an open creative house, which is located here in Espoo, Keilaniemi. We have a creative hub, let's say music hub, because we have 12 music studios, and I'm also working in an EU project called Music Industry Resilience Acceleration Program.
Hi all, I'm Anastasia Pihlman. I'm an architect, born and raised in Chernihiv, northern Ukraine, and graduated from Kyiv Architecture University in 2012 and moved here to Finland to study wood architecture at Aalto University. And since then working here in Finland in Kanttia 2 architecture office as an architect, and last 3 years as one of the chief architects. And now been following how my ancient home city has been destroyed. So the identity of the cities and the architecture of the cities is very close to my heart. So trying to participate in that sense.
Hello, I'm Margus Klar from Brand Manual in Estonia. I'm a Swiss, Swedish, Canadian Estonian, so it's a little bit confusing for me. My background is in strategic marketing, and for the past 15 years I've been working with service design and innovation, and how human-centered design and the human-centered approach actually influences absolutely everything that we can design or not design, and thinking about how humans act and working from human behavior in developing any kind of service or product has completely different and much greater value than just working it out from an engineering point of view. So that's what I try to contribute on a daily basis to all of my clients.
And I'm Jana Haggard from UltraHack. So my interest is in innovation. I'm really looking forward to see the solutions that come out of this hackathon.
Hi, my name is Aarni Heiskanen. I'm a construction innovation agent at AEC Business, helping construction technology companies gain a competitive advantage through communication?
Hello, my name is Claudia Auer. I'm an Austrian-Finnish architect. I'm CEO of Auer Architects, a Helsinki-based architecture company with a wide range of educational building design. And I'm here as a representative of Aalto University. I have been teaching and researching at Aalto for 20 years now in humanitarian architecture, building design, and I'm part of a research team of the Radical Creativity team, and I'm much interested in facilitating transdisciplinary, innovative design processes.
Hello, Dobrý den. My name is Mikko-Pekka Hanski from Finland. I have a 20 years background on design industry. Nowadays I'm working as a board professional and investor. Over here today, my job is to support Kari to facilitate this conversation. And my activities in Ukraine are divided into 4. I'm translating Ukrainian songs to Finnish, supporting education of teachers in Ukraine. I'm investing and helping investments to Ukrainian startups. And finally, I have a small investment fund that is focused on investing to Ukraine defense tech companies called Double Tap Investments. But here today as a co-facilitator for the evening.
Thank you. That's all now, Igor. Could your people then tell a little bit about their backgrounds?
For sure, Kari. According to our plan, we are having Ukrainian panel, Ukrainian part. The main idea of our panel is to give our speakers opportunity to provide Ukrainian context, plans, issues, risks, and for sure possibilities from their perspective. So I would give a short floor to each of our participants now to present themselves. And after that, we start a discussion, a set of presentations. So please, Olga, could you shortly present yourself? We are waiting.
Hello, thank you very much for this invitation here. I'm the development director and GR of Saint-Gobain here in Ukraine. We are the company that produces a lot of construction and building materials, glass, gypsum, plasterboards, glass wool, stone wool, and a lot of products that for sure we use in the construction of the modular buildings. And thank you very much again for me to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Olga. Now I will switch to the channel Ukrainian and switch to Ukrainian language.
So now I want to give the floor.
Будь ласка.
If you have any issues, please make sure you let us know right away. I hope you hear us. Yes, I do. Just a few words. Hello. Hello. My name is Sergiy Samusyev, and I'm the owner and the founder of a company that is more than 30 years has been working on cottage cities. And last year, we built a plant on producing modular houses with capacity at 500 houses per year. This is a theoretical figure because it couldn't get to its maximum capacity yet. But I have a lot of innovations that I would gladly share. I'm still working on my Ukrainian. I'm sorry if I have some issues with interpretation. Thank you. Thank you very much, Sergiy. We're very happy to have you here. I'm gonna switch to English channel.
І прошу Катерину
And I'm
Ткачук
gonna
представитись
ask
і сказати
Kateryna
пару.
Tkachuk to also introduce herself.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Kateryna Tkachuk. My profession is interior design. Also, I work as a medical interpreter in MedAid organization, which is located in Varna, Bulgaria. And also, after the onset of Russia's massive invasion, I was the final user of the compact settlement areas here in Bulgaria. And here, I'm here to share my own experience and perspective on organization of compact settlement areas and also including modular housing. Thank you.
Thank you, Kateryna. So that's our participant, our speakers. So first question I would like to address to Olga. And Olga, we all understand how hard now it's work and to carry out operations on a Ukrainian market. But we know that some companies still continue working and see also opportunities for its business and for Ukrainian market. So one of that companies is Saint-Gobain. So please share with us what's your plans, what's your visions, maybe what's your visions on a future in Ukraine, in modular housing as well, and more broad perspective. If you want to talk, I want to remind you, if you want to talk in Ukrainian, you should choose Ukrainian channel.
Yes, Igor, thank you very much. I will start in English, then I will switch to Ukrainian because I want to concentrate today on some things that I think it is very important for Ukrainians to hear. Because I'm very glad that we have here such an international team and some people from Finland, Estonia, and so on, because as for me, it is very important now just to have this cross and border experience change, because I think that in Ukraine we have a big future capacity and a big future development of the modular construction. And of course, Finland, for example, I know that that is very fast developing this kind of the construction, and for sure we have a lot of things we can take from you, like experience, like innovations, and of course your practical issues that you have been using all these years. So thank you very much. I will just switch in Ukrainian. Чому українською ще раз? Тому що
Why Ukrainian once again? Just because for me, I believe that everyone who is now engaged in construction industry, especially in Ukraine, especially when we talk about modular construction, and us at Saint-Gobain in Ukraine, we are very interested in this industry being developed, because we understand that those products, those innovations, those innovative materials that we're producing, they are also being used in modular construction. But I think that Sergiy is going to also speak after me about this. We have a very wrong understanding of many things that are connected to modular construction and many products that are used in the process of construction. And I'm very happy that today with our participants, we have a lot of architects, we have a lot of specialists in this particular industry in construction that for sure must understand this. But we have this main task, I think, for us is to change the attitude of people in Ukraine in order to communicate that modular modular construction, it's quality. Modular construction is aesthetic. And to communicate that it is also energy efficiency and it's less impact on environment and so on and so on. Because I think it's not a secret for anyone. I had a similar situation when, for example, when I heard about plasterboard walls, I imagined that when you do that, when you lean on that wall, you get a bump on the other side of the wall. And especially if you talk about something, you have some conversations in that room, everyone hears you in the other room. So that's how I saw this, and that's how people treat the material, and especially if it's plaster. And when we talk about people that when they want to build something for themselves in Ukraine, people think firstly that this, of course, must to be done only with brick and with concrete, and only then this building will be good quality, it's going to be energy efficient, and it's going to serve you for many years. But in fact, this is a mistake. This is a common mistake and an old one, because, for example, those boards that are done from plaster, they already can be used for external walls. They have better characteristics on energy efficiency and sound isolation, which is, of course, is so strange for all of us, right? At least it was like this for me. And I even had my own experience of trying to ruin one of those plasterboard walls with a sledgehammer, and I tried to hit 15 times, I think, and it still stayed. And I really didn't have any more energy to keep going. And I think this is the things that we need to be changing, because even when we are visiting those construction sites of modular houses that we have in Ukraine, they're not worse in their quality if we compare them to houses that are made of concrete or modular producers that are working abroad. And sometimes I'm very proud of us Ukrainians that we really love to do things with high quality right away. And that quality sometimes can even exceed and excel if you compare it to some other countries. And also when we talk about this, I also had this experience, I think in Ukrainian and I think in Russian, maybe starting from Soviet Union, there is such saying, I'm going to translate this literally, that let the land and the earth be to you covered with glass wool. But this is saying when I was on visiting manufacturers of glass wool, and I remember that they said, well, you cannot touch anything, right? Because I remember how it was that you cannot touch anything, otherwise you're going to get hurt. And they said, don't worry, you can even touch your face with that glass wool because nothing's going to happen. And of course, that being used as isolation, of course, it is of much more quality now. It's more flexible. It has less impact on people that contact and work with it. And it's also better with energy efficiency, and I'm not gonna use terminology here, but I just want to start with this, that this industry in Ukraine is very undervalued. And our task for all of us specialists from this industry, architects, designers, it's our task to communicate that a modular house, first of all, this is about saving the resource, the main resource that I think in our life, the main resource, no matter what, is time. And now for reconstruction, for the goals of construction process of such housing for IDPs, for internally internally displaced people, this is a perfect solution. that once again does not bring a worse quality of life, and it doesn't bring us to the point where we force people to live in some temporary, uncomfortable, not beautiful conditions. And sometimes it can be even more beautiful. It can be better value for the money, and it could be more feasible and better than even that house that is built under our traditional view that we're so used to. Thank you very much. Olga, thank you very much. Thank you for your vision. Thank you for sharing, for your speech. So then we will have time for us. Wait, what channel am I on? I think Ukrainian. Yes, I will switch to Ukrainian channel. So we will have time in the end of our panel, maybe for our colleagues to ask questions, colleagues from Finland. But as of now, I would like to go to the next speaker, Sergiy Samusyev. Sergiy, you are running business in Ukraine for 30 years. In the business that has grown and transformed for numerous times now, and the business that is being developed and implementing innovations, and is just as a purely Ukrainian company. How do you see the perspectives and the prospects for modular housing? What possible risks maybe we're going to face or we're facing in these times? Sergiy, you're muted. Please make sure to turn on your microphone.
Yeah.
Так, вибачте. Я не хочу розглядати модульну...
Excuse me. I don't want to talk about modular technology very isolated when we are just connected to Ukraine. It's a very new notion. So not a new notion, but it's a new era in construction. And I don't want to make advertisements for my product, but what we make, this is a product that has characteristics, properties that are impossible to get for everything that is being built under traditional technology. First of all, we have 1.5 dozens of series of buildings, and each series has 5, 10, sometimes more options how to put together the modules based on your need. And this is first thing that can be said about this. First thing that differentiates us from traditional construction. So the person can plan their own house, and they can put it together based on their needs, based on how big their family is, and they can have separate rooms. And they select all the furniture, they select the design, all the materials. And this also gives an opportunity for people to form the price of that property themselves. So when someone asks how much is 1 square meter, this doesn't make sense. The question doesn't make sense because the person decides for themselves. They make the house themselves, and they base it on their budget. Second thing, our projects foresee an opportunity to grow. So you can start living in 1 or 2 module house, and then if needed and when needed, you can buy a bedroom, you can buy a personal sports gym, or a living room or kitchen, or you can set it to a different place, and so on, and many other opportunities. And also as continuation of this area of work, if you, for example, have kids left the house already and they went somewhere to study, you can sell those parts of the house, those modules that right now you don't need. And our company does also can buy it from you. So we have trade-in, we guarantee that. Third thing.
The
third aspect, we are calling our product movable real estate, because actually this level of preparedness of the building in the factory, it is 100%. And if we are talking about the house, which is more than 100 square meters, and it can be assembled at the construction site during one day, 24 hours, people already can move in there and start living there. So at the same time is needed to disassemble this building and to relocate it somewhere else. And the amount of such relocations is not limited. That's why during the 5 years we were working on the technology, on how it is all those technologies can be connected, how they can be disconnected, and how to do not to have any limitations there. Concerning the fact that houses can move from one place to the other, this is actually has a pretty potential, powerful factor if you're talking about the change of the social component. So we can say that right now, when a person builds their personal house on some kind of land, then we might have huge limitations there. Actually, I have been observing for many years how people treat their real estate, and I have had such a feeling that people already do not own their real estate. Real estate owns them. We managed to solve this issue because a person can, for instance, sell the house separately from the land, or take their house and move to a different place and they can sell the land. So what I have already 4, or that's already the 5th point. The 5th point is in the fact that a person may not buy the land plot, but rent it. You probably understand that to build a house at a rented area, rented land was not impossible, but right now it is possible because our houses allow us to do so. We have really powerful opportunities here, and of course they require huge project capacities, because when the client assembles his or her house, then they feel that they project it on their own. But for them to be able to project it on their own, somebody else before that should project all the possible variants of connecting modules and their engineering. And we actually came to the fact that even the project documents that is developed by our project bureau is not so much similar to construction documentations now, but to machine building one. So what gets from R&D office to production, it is absolutely different standards of preparing project and all the documents connected with that. If you do not stop me, then I can talk for 1 hour and a half. Or I can entertain you for a very long time, so I'm ready to answer your questions if you have any. Yes, I actually do believe that it will be extremely interesting for all of us to see some kind of visualization of what you were talking about. Maybe several pictures. If you cannot do it right now, then we can move to the next speaker and then you will show it. Or later we will just send those pictures to everyone. You can take a look at our website. We have videos there, we have links to YouTube, and we actually, it seems to me that everything is very understandable there. But of course, it will be better to look at it personally. We have such a plot of land in Kyiv where we have our prototypes exhibited, and it seems to me that to wander around them, you can understand better than what you have just and you can see that what I'm talking about is not a fantasy. It really does exist, and the quality of engineer solutions, the quality and energy efficiency, and actually those buildings, those houses that kind of look like yachts, you know. Sometimes those who buy them and those who look at them, they say that it is absolutely different level. It is a level of construction that is impossible to get at the construction site. So that's practically all I wanted to say. So I would like to invite all of you to visit us. Okay, so we invite everyone who's in Ukraine and our colleagues from Finland and Estonia. If you ever visit Ukraine, please visit. And in the chat, I will also send a link to my website. Yes, Hadget, am I right? That's how it's called. Yes, Hadget, to remember it easily. Because hut is the main word, hut, H-U-T, and then jet is reactive engine. And when we in ChatGPT launched the description of our product, ChatGPT in 5 minutes created logo for us, and it has wings. So it actually a house with a wing with wings. So we give one more level of freedom to people. Cool. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Sergiy. And now I would like to move to our next speaker. International business, these prospects of in module housing, but local business that was developed in Ukraine also actually sees prospects in module housing. But unfortunately, it all comes because of the war and because people have to move, they have to relocate, they have to change the place of their residence. And that's why I would like to invite our next speaker, Kateryna Tkachuk, despite of the fact that she is a designer and the target audience of our projects and of this project in particular. And also she would be in the status, as I understand, of IDP, and she managed to look at all those solutions and all those problems from the inside. So that's why, Kateryna, we really would like to give the floor to you now and to share your vision. As far as I understand, you will be talking in English, so I am changing to English channel.
Yes, thank you. 1 second, I'll share my screen. Right. Okay. So yes, the topic of my presentation for today is compact settlement areas for refugees from Ukraine. I've already introduced myself, so let's skip. Firstly, I want to express my and just all of the Ukrainians' gratitude to our international partners, and this is just a reminder that your help truly changes our lives. So a little bit about my experience. So during the first month after the onset of Russia's massive invasion, I stayed in a hotel in Carpathian Mountains, but it was quite expensive, so we needed to find some other solutions. And later, my family and we headed to Bulgaria, where refugees were accommodated for free in hotels that were vacant during the off-season. And after a long 2-day journey, we found ourselves in a hotel in Golden Sands on the coast of the Black Sea. And I want to share about my experience about problems that refugees faced in that particular CSAs. CSA is a short version of compact settlement areas. And I want to highlight that this is my personal experience because people from different hotels, different regions of Bulgaria, different countries, and even refugees of different nationalities, they all have completely different experiences. But now I want to share and analyze something that I personally know. So firstly, these are domestic issues. This is, for example, lack of household appliances. Like, for example, we had only one washing machine for a large 5-floor hotel, and we almost fighted to put our names on a list to use this washing machine. The same situation was with vacuum cleaners, kettles, irons, and so on. Also, this is about poor internet connection, which was very problematic for kids who were studying online in Ukrainian schools. And the mobile internet connection was pretty expensive. Secondly, this is about infrastructure, lack of food and household goods in local supermarkets. So we actually had just 2 or 3 supermarkets in the town, and they were selling something like snacks and drinks, and we could not easily buy some food or some basic products, like, for example, toilet paper or shampoo. The third topic is nutrition. We actually had a very great nutrition in our hotel. We had a great meal 3 times a day, but there was no ability for independent food preparation because of poor electrical grid in the building, and it was very problematic for moms with young kids because the local canteen menu was not suitable for them, and as I said, because of the bad infrastructure, they could not buy some food for their babies. And also this is about a lack of drinking water because we had only one cooler. Again, for a 5-floor hotel, it is obviously not enough. The first topic is psychological aspect, which is more general, not really connected to CSA, but it really impacted our experience. So first of all, this is lack of socialization outside the refugee social bubble. Then this is misunderstanding of traumatic experience by locals. For example, there was a prom season and there were a lot of fireworks, and some of the Ukrainians were really afraid of that. And also this is about discrimination from locals because, for example, when me and my family, we left the hotel and we tried to find new accommodation, it was very hard to find an apartment because nobody wanted to deal with refugees. Nobody wanted to see us in their houses. However, after 2 months, the social program began to close slowly. And as I said, I was pretty fortunate because me and my mom, we were working online and we could afford ourselves to rent an apartment. However, today we are talking about those refugees who didn't have such an opportunity, and the majority of our hotel neighbors returned home to Ukraine. And unfortunately, almost all of our friends rejected the idea of living as internally displaced persons, shortly IDPs, in safer areas of Ukraine. And the most common reasons were firstly psychological, because people are very attached to their homeland, to their social circle, and sometimes it is even more important than the risk of being injured or dead, unfortunately. Also, this is a financial aspect because moving anywhere is expensive and not all of the refugees can afford themselves to do that. And some of our friends, unfortunately, returned to the areas which were very close to the front line or to those regions which were heavily attacked by missiles. However, unfortunately, some people have nowhere to return because their houses has been destroyed. And these individuals are actually the target audience for CSAs. A little bit about situation in Ukraine in general. As of May 2023, there were more than 4.8 million IDPs and more than 4,000 CSAs, where in these 4,000 CSAs, there were more than 61,000 IDPs. So we can make a conclusion that those IDPs who are users of CSAs are in a minority, which is great. Also, according to surveys, 89% of CSA's managers reported that IDPs stayed for more than 3 months. And also, around 40% of IDPs do not plan to return to their homes. So we see a tendency that people are, unfortunately, staying for a long time. Different CSAs, they are designed to meet different requirements in context of durations of stay. And unfortunately, in Ukraine, there are examples of modular towns that were designed as a temporary housing, but the residents have been staying there since 2014. And this means that we also need to focus on designing houses for long-term residents. Now a little bit about demographic composition. So as of May 2023, here are the numbers which present the percentage of CSAs where at least one family with this specified vulnerability lived. And we can see that the target audience is socio-economically vulnerable segments of population. So these are elderly people, people with disabilities, and those who need care. Now about living conditions in Ukrainian CSAs, and this is a very sad topic because as of May 2023, 79% of CSAs need immediate renovation. And you can see why on these images. These are real images of real CSAs in Ukraine. So what are the main problems which Ukrainian CSAs face? First, this is about lack of personal and communal space because people not only sleep, use bathroom and eat, they also have a lot of hours in a day and they need to spend it somewhere. Then this is about the absence of specially equipped rooms for food preparation and consumption. This is about inadequate sanitary and hygienic conditions where, for example, there is only one bathroom for 30 refugees. This is about non-compliance with fire safety regulations, as I mentioned before, because of poor electrical grid in the existing buildings. Also insufficient room furnishing because there is no space to store room belongings, as you can see on this image. Also, this is about presence of mold in majority of the CSAs. And the reasons can be different, but one of the easiest solutions is, for example, just to buy a drying machine, because as you can see on this image, also people need to dry their clothes just in the bedroom. And one of the most important to my mind is inadaptivity to the needs of elderly, less mobile individuals and persons with disabilities. Although, as I mentioned before, this is the main target audience of these CSAs. So they are a target audience, but CSAs are not designed to meet their needs. And what about modular housing? In my opinion, CSAs in existing buildings have a major drawback. They are extremely inflexible because they were built according to outdated building codes, and transforming these spaces to new functions is extremely difficult. And the biggest advantage of the modular housing is that it can address the problems faced by the existing buildings. So now a little bit about examples of modular housing in Ukraine. At the moment, I see three main applications of modular housing construction. So firstly, this is about a modular town for IDPs with shared areas. This is something that maybe comes to mind immediately when we are talking about modular housing. These are big undivided clusters of containers which are forming a big camp for refugees. And across Ukraine, there are a lot of typical modules provided by the Polish government. And they are good in context of short-term living. However, it is important to draw a line here to avoid turning the modular town into a refugee ghetto, because, for example, there is a camp in Yelhovo, Bulgaria, which we all feared so much when we were staying in a hotel in Varna, because it was designed for 1,750 people. And the camp is surrounded by a concrete fence and a barbed line, so it resembles more of a concentration camp. And about good examples. So firstly, this is Ukraine by Balbec Bureau. This is not this is in a construction process. It is not implemented yet, but still in process. So this is a good example from the perspective of planning and visual design, and about the design itself. So we can see that modern and neat forms and decorative materials, they create a light atmosphere of elitism. Such a minimal style is recognized in elite residential complex or public places, and that means that a displaced person will not feel like a marginalized individual, which is very important in this context. So the second way of implementing modular housing is a modular town as a country cooperative, where one container is an autonomous house and it is designed for long-term living, which is great. So a good example is Relocation UA. So you can see that this container, it means all basic needs, for example, heating, water supply and disposal, household appliances, and so on. And what about the design itself? So we can see light and neutral, so-called in Ukraine European style. And this is a good option for a universal module. And over time, if a displaced person wants to buy this container, which is possible with this program, the interior can be customized on a budget and very easily. And the third one is autonomous residential container, which is designed for people who want to live on their own land, but their housing has been destroyed. And it is also designed for a long-term living. So in context of interior design, we can see that this is such a good example of how a decor can homify the container, and also pay attention to how choosing, for example, a creamy wall color instead of sterile white affects the perception, because a cozy atmosphere immediately appears, and it is better to use warm colors more often, maybe. And just to summarize, in my opinion, modular housing is a priority direction in the context of designing CSAs right now, because firstly, it can be designed for both short-term and long-term living. Then also it is a quick and cost-effective solution compared to the construction of conventional residential buildings. And also it is durable because it can last for more than 50 years. And also, if this container is not needed, or this camp is not needed, it can be sold and moved to another location. So thank you for your attention, and let's discuss this problem.
Thank you, Kateryna. Thank you for your presentation, for this overview of the problems that we face in terms of IDPs and modular housing and conditions of living. So I would like to now sorry, I'm on the right channel. I would like to invite our which are now sitting in Finland, if they have questions to our panelists.
Thank you, Igor, and thanks for all the presenters for excellent presentations. We got views from technological things, economical, also cultural, social. Thanks for that. I think that we could do so that we first take perhaps one question from the contextual thing. And Jarmo, you talk quite a lot about the people and living and buildings in the ecosystem. You had so wide perspective. If you could ask something or reflect to that.
Yes, so I've never been in Ukraine, but I was in Sendai in Japan when the tsunami takes everything. All the cities were destroyed immediately, 2011. And what we did is not only modular housing, but they wanted to rebuild communities. the first thing people ask is, can we have a karaoke bar? Sounds silly, but they want to come back as a community. And once they got the basic needs done, I think the question is to bring back the identity, the proudness, to bring back the communities in their life. And in that way, modular building, modular construction is the mean. Okay, you have that tool to do it, but I see most important is first to think about how to actually make the people's living, how to come back to this ideal of living. I mean, once you have lost everything. And then I think your examples were great. I mean, especially I like the last one, the with white boxes. And I think the technology can do quite a lot. Even 10 years, 12 years ago, we have modular technology companies in Japan producing different type of things. But like I was saying, people were not satisfied as a construction. They were more focused on their land, on their family, and the social connection. So I think these both aspects need to be taken care of. And last thing, like I mentioned, ecosystems. I want to think about the new villages. That's a huge opportunity to not to replace old buildings with the new, more modern buildings only, but to think about the new needs with the technology, with all these platforms. Can we actually think about living in a new way? What is shared, what is used, what is operated, what are the business, what should I own, what should I rent? I mean, there are lots of variety in that. So it's not only the question of construction, but it's the question of this, really think about this ecosystem. And maybe last I want to say, I was also working when I was in MIT in Megantic in Canada. That was a village that was destroyed immediately with the one gasoline train was burning down everything. And actually that construction leads me to think about these networks. So they didn't want to build a new school, or they didn't want to build a new kind of malls in old-fashioned way. They use what they have already. And actually, step by step, building this community back. The loss was terrible, what was happening there. So I'm thinking, even though I don't know, I've never been in Ukraine, but I'm thinking that the problems are so many-folded, that there are lots of opportunities to think about construction, which you have done already in great ways, but also same time to think about what is actually the system, the network, the new ecosystem of village. And I think my focus, if I can say so, is really in the ecosystem level and systems of systems. Okay, thank you.
Could take another, Claudia. Also, you have been also challenging environments and working there. Could you comment on that?
Yes, thank you, and thank you, Jarmo, for your comments, because this thinking about what kind of society is created and the system thinking is a very integral part of this modular, creating this modular systems and modular habitats. Because it is not only the habitat. When we think about what happened in Finland in the post-war area, we have a perfect example with these frontman houses that have been built in Finland by Finnish SISU. We have here in Ukraine, the heroic Ukraine, and I think you will be able to implement something similar. Because when we think about the frontman houses, this wood construction Ltd, Puutalo Oy. It was created because Finland needed to pay war expenses, and Finland didn't have the money to pay. So what Finland created was kind of a modular wooden housing system by which they paid first the war expensive, but what was actually built in Finland was the know-how, was the system of how to rebuild the cities. And after the expenses were paid, in Finland there was the know-how. There were a large economy based on building those modular houses, and we can see those houses still as a very valuable part of Finnish houses. And so it's not just about making a product. It's about implementing know-how and about the collaborative process of recreating a community, about integrating knowledge, what is local, and bringing kind of new system thinking to the place, and then getting the thing grow on a local basis, and that is what kind of the seed for a flourishing society, and that can be permanent, but that can also include all these IDPs. Can be something that is just for some time, and then it can be changed in something permanent, or it can be replaced and built somewhere else.
Just a small comment. I mean, in that way, you build these long-term communities. That is the only way, not only think about long-term walls, but long-term communities.
Markus, you could continue because you have been working with communities and people.
Yes, thank you for great presentation. I think that our perspective, what Citizen Network represents, are people-led, citizen-led, and community building. We come from the world of social and healthcare, the world of inclusion. So creating this kind of inclusive areas, neighborhoods, communities is good for everybody. We have a lot of talent of working with people with mental health issues. So creating environments that are also socially accessible is something that we all should consider. The house is not just a house; it's a place where people are living, and creating the conditions that support this recovery is also very much linked to the future of innovation and innovative states. So I believe that there's now a huge risk of building the institutions back in Ukraine. We are now working in Romania, where we have done this work for over 30 years of deinstitutionalization. So don't make the same mistakes that the other countries are doing. Start thinking differently already now, and we can do it together. You're not alone. So we are ready to help. We have a lot of good stories, but like the previous discussion told, now is the opportunity to build the capacity and talent to Ukraine, so you can help the other countries. The future is yours and it's ours, and it's a shared opportunity to create sustainable, resilient communities everywhere.
Excellent. This is Mikko. Would like to open up the conversation with all of us, and thank you for the comments. Fantastic. There's a lot of inspirations coming up from there, and also thank you for the Ukrainian presentations as well, or giving the context for us. Very enlightening. So I would like to go through participants in this room as well, one by one, with like a 2-minute thought and reflection. The first question I have that what is a new thing, kind of like surprising thing or something that you haven't been think about yet, but after this, here in this 1 hour, you kind of like, oh, this is a new thing. And second thing, in your area, in your domain, what is the most meaningful or relevant topic right now that you would like to bring into this table and conversation as well? And I would like to start with Eevaliisa.
Thank you. This has been really interesting and good conversation. We have been talking about social systems and about housing and things like that. There's one point I would like to raise up is that it's not only housing, it's also the environment. And in this time, it's possible to concentrate, to think all the environment together, think about rebuilding also the nature, taking all the ecosystem systems in urban space, giving them the possibility not to forget the whole environment. And that's something I like to speak with you later on, because it's also very closely connected to infra building, which you also have to do. And when we are doing infra building, it's expensive and it causes consequences, and we have to from very start to think what are the maximum benefits which we want to gain and how we minimize all the problems when we are doing infrastructure.
Excellent. Thank you, Eevaliisa. So, Tommi, why don't you share some surprises on this afternoon and meaningful topics on your area?
Yes, thanks for the great presentation. It was really inspirational also to hear your interesting angles. I would agree with how to build like a community-based ecosystem, and especially I was thinking like younger people and the kind of future sites when it comes to term creator economy. So it's related to shared spaces and these kind of communities that we could build to bring people, especially younger people, together and their talent. There are a lot of like these kind of elements like psychological and emotional support as well in those kind of spaces. Let's say my background is from music, so I know that music brings people together, and there is these kind of aspects like music therapy, for example, and all the other segments from the creative sectors as well. So this is what I was thinking in this discussion.
Can I comment very briefly?
Yes.
And music therapy, the karaoke issue, even it sounds funny, but it was really about that. People are able with karaoke singing and kind of showing their grief and showing their sadness to each other in kind of socially acceptable ways in Japan.
Exactly.
Can I add here something? Yeah, it's I worked for this kind of soundscape workshop method, and the idea is that through this melodic kind of connection, people join together, and it's kind of one of the most powerful emotional things that connect people. And it's this kind of practice that uses limited parts of brain. It's really needed when you're trying to work with kind of people who had been in a very bad situation. So,
indeed. Yep. Thank you. And already we see that, cities sing and, the resonance of the buildings, it's affecting us invisibly. So Anastasia, what about your reflections on the surprises and some of your meaningful topics for today?
Yeah, I can totally agree with everyone who was talking today. Maybe I could comment on the perspective of a Ukrainian living in Finland. Mm-hmm. When I came here, we actually, as Aalto University, our project at the Wood program was to build a modular building, a modular wood building. And at that point, it was still like kind of a cultural shock when I experienced the Finnish mökki. It's the Finnish summer cottage. And it basically can be just a wooden building, very, very simple. But the context, that's what we were talking, that's what makes it special. And Finns just go to the cottage, they enjoy sauna, they enjoy lake, and the nature. So the architectural features usually of these buildings that they have big windows, big terraces, big outdoor spaces, and they're very, very simple. There could be like no running water or electricity even. So this kind of type of buildings showed me the maybe main aspects and features of Finns as a nation is enjoying the simplicity, yes, the nature, and like what are the values. So when we're thinking about Ukrainians, as a Ukrainian, maybe we should stop and think what makes us Ukrainian. What is our speciality? For example, even Finns know that we're very good with land. We love working on land and gardening. So that should be, I think, a very important part of these modular buildings, because that helps us relax and release the psychological, the stress and so on. As well, we're a very musical nation. We love to sing. Regarding the modular buildings and these little towns, again, as an architect, I would love to see them be incorporated in the Ukrainian towns and cities. Now the examples that we saw, they were great, and in general the modern Ukrainian architecture is kind of looking towards the European countries and more developed countries and architecture and so on. But sometimes we look at the picture and we cannot really say that that's Ukraine. This is a Ukrainian building. So I would love for us to find this, to be able to create buildings that look Ukrainian, something special, something ours, using our materials, our architecture heritage and history. Yes. What else? I was writing down. Yes, so Olga was saying that we should teach somehow Ukrainians to appreciate this simple modular buildings, but also we should maybe see what our values are, what are real values of our living, how we used to live, how our relatives used to live and so on, and kind of try to incorporate it in the future buildings and the new technologies.
Wonderful comment. Thank you, Anastasia. And I fear that our hybrid model kind of prevents us to have a very lively conversation over here. So I ask for your patience on how we go through these observations. So Margus, please, from Estonia.
Yes.
Or Swiss Canadian.
It's a long story. But I think my first observation is actually what you mentioned before, is that we're designing social system. I mean, the house is just a house, it's a place to be. And in many of projects that we've done working with social issues, the biggest obstacles in participation, education, or sending kids to football training or whatever it is not, it comes down to infrastructure and transport links. And you will have very many single moms with kids with, I can't be at work and have a car and take my kids to school or training. So when we're thinking about rebuilding or even modular housing, it can't be a community outside the city somewhere where it looks really nice and it looks like a holiday village. But if I have to go to work and I have to take my kids to school and I have to go to the supermarket, I can't live here. So it's not just about the building, it's the whole system that has to support life and the community and all of these things. So that's something that we should take into consideration and keep in mind when we're talking about modular housing. It's just one aspect of it, but it starts with transport networks of how can I move easily and get to work, school, and all these other things. The other thing that struck me, and that was just a personal reflection, my first house that I built, I think it was in 1999. I went to Omatalo, got a modular building factory built, transported to Estonia and put up. My neighbor took a picture from Omatalo catalog and had it built in stone. The same reflection is that a real building is built out of stone, not out of wood. It can't be a wood frame house. And that was very much the culture also in Estonia 20 years ago. And I think that's starting to change, and looking at materials and all these things, that it's not just about the material as such, but it's how you put it together that creates the value. And I think that's where we have to move to, and that's a lot of part of the journey. If the culture is, it's got to be out of stone, you have to convince even people to accept that in the first place.
Excellent. Thank you. And I think that the human-centered design has a lot to do on helping us in this transformation. So, sir, I forgot your name, but Aarni, what were your surprises and relevant topic you want to address today?
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for the presentations. The biggest surprise maybe is how resilient people actually are living in those conditions and still finding something happy, some happiness in their environment. Everybody here has been talking about the human aspect. Maybe it's time for me to say a few words about the technical aspect. Because I think that you now have a perfect opportunity to start thinking about construction in a new way. And what we mention is the industry 4.0 thinking in other industries, and you can now implement it in construction as well. And I know that you have brilliant people in Ukraine doing fantastic software, for example. So you have all the knowledge that you can now combine this knowledge in digital technologies with construction, and that's I think a big chance from this day onward. And also I think that you could also become the example for Europe for this type of new type of construction, which is combining digital technologies, lean construction, and supply chains that are able to communicate digitally and automatically. So that's maybe something that I wanted to add.
Fantastic points. Thank you, Aarni. Claudia.
Yes, thank you. I think one thing I have learned now in the last hour was the picture you showed about this refugee camp, which looked like, you said, like a concentration camp. That made me really sad to realize that that is happening here in Europe. And if you think about all those people who are traumatized through war, they are displaced, they are disintegrated, and it is so important to create environments that help, that are healing environments, that give hope. And I think what you have been talking about, the ecological infrastructures, to have people integrated into nature, because when we think what is the DNA of a place, it is the landscape, the nature, it is people, and it's the culture you find, and we need to integrate that. Today we are talking in architecture a lot also about like the post-human aspect. It is not only just us people. We need to rebuild better cities, build back better. And that means that we also need to think about the non-human aspect, about cities that are resilient, and we need this like nature as part. And we have been seeing flooding in the Ukraine, so this flooding will be a big future issue. So we also need to think about how can we build cities that are resilient, and nature is one really big impact in that, like a major element to make our cities resilient. That if we have these catastrophes in the future, if we have flooding in the future, those cities will be resilient, and they will also provide this nature aspect. Will also provide health, well-being, and help with trauma, because it brings like calmness to the people, and it connects people, not only the community, also people with nature.
Yes, fantastic point about the time. So think about like how can we design things that last for 1,000 years, or what should last for 1,000 years. But hey, Markus, your point for this conversation.
Thank you. What I learned today is about modularity. So the realities of ecosystems means that all things are happening at the same time. Our experiences in eastern parts of Europe has shown us that we need to develop as systems, we need to develop our ways to democratize how we live together. We need to rethink how we govern and fund, for example, construction of societies. So there's a huge learning that we can share on these respects. So this modularity means that these realities and modules are small. So my advice is not to think always the big solutions, but modular solutions that can exist and communicate at the same time, creating what people need and can be designed to fit for a purpose. So that fits very well with the living, but also social and healthcare, which tends to be the last castle of authoritarian solutions. So the people have the power if we let people to have the power into redesigning the life as it is. And there's also generational differences. So my friends in Ukraine, they are looking hopefully for the future in these stressing times. but there's a lot of opportunities emerging when people have had to leave the country, and now they get new friends and new allies, and it's always a two-way street. So we learn as we rebuild Ukraine, we also rebuild Finland and Estonia.
Excellent. So Timo, so in your area, what is the most relevant topic that you would like to bring into the table that is connected to modularity or rebuilding topics?
Well, let's say, as I earlier informed, that I'm in the education side, and I like to emphasize entrepreneurship. And I think that this is a great opportunity for many kind of new inventions to be brought to the practice when you have this almost greenfield, I would call greenfield buildings.
Yeah.
And so in order to run profitable business, you need to understand also the business, not only the technology, but also the business. And I would like to emphasize that.
Indeed.
In this case.
Excellent. Thank you for your point. What about Rasmus, your point of view?
Yeah, Anders. Yes, one thing that surprised or what I was happy about is to hear that a larger view, like I'm an engineer, I'm in construction, that would look around much broader than just the building or the infrastructure. Because if you think about it, when you make that hospital, it's just not the building, it's for the society, it has to be served at. And as we work with this integrated project delivery, and that integration means not only the parties, but all the shareholders, all the society around it, that we make a solution that is the best suitable with the amount of money you have. Then another aspect, like our company, we are fortunate to be together with another group. I think we have 7 companies, Finnish companies. We call Integrated Hospital Design Alliance, and our aim is to export Finnish hospital design. And also we get some funding from Business Finland and also regarding Ukraine. And we have it just started a few weeks ago. And what we are looking in there when we're thinking about Ukraine, but also otherwise in Eastern Europe, is more like the standardization also of hospital solutions. And maybe even have been thinking about some models. But now what I've maybe learned here, but we have talked about wooden models in hospitals, but maybe we need some more cultural changes before that. Thank you.
Excellent point on the hospitals. Indeed, the construction goes to all kinds of areas of life. Thank you. What about Teemu?
Teemu, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been a great discussion, and I've learned a lot, and I definitely agree with most of the points, and the kind of community aspect, especially that we need to kind of come up with a system where we empower the communities to do this together. I've been also one of the points that reminded me immediately was the frontman house benchmark, that this is kind of a similar situation, and Ukraine needs to design and conceptualize their own frontman house concept, and then empower the communities to really build that fast and with good quality for their needs. I've been starting to think, because I come from kind of technology perspective, that how can we harness the technology to all of this, like maybe following up from Aarni's point. And certainly there's a lot of topics that from my network kind of arises. There's an ecosystem working on digital building permitting, where we can have end-to-end digital processes for building control and permits to really provide fast process for permitting these projects, and then provide also full transparency on those processes on a municipal level. There's a lot of companies working on that, and it's kind of in a phase of global scaling at the moment. The other thing is the kind of low carbon perspective. This is an opportunity for Ukraine to really leapfrog building and construction from kind of a carbon perspective. There's a lot of solutions around the world being developed, so a lot to learn. And also in Finland, we are having the low carbon built environment program with quite a lot of funding and companies working on new solutions as well. So there's certainly a lot to learn from.
Excellent. All right. What about you, sir?
Seppo.
Seppo.
Yes. So thanks for the presentations and interesting comments. I think there is a big opportunity also in Ukraine now to kind of jump ahead, like a couple of generations in building technology, and perhaps come really like an advanced country in that respect. But I think the point that mostly took my attention here was the kind of a tension between the need for short-term accommodation and the kind of long-term perspective to create perhaps sustainable, long-lasting, comfortable, healthy, and cozy environments, so that that we don't end up with these kind of concentration camps with the container houses, and how you can. What is the kind of way to have a lot of accommodation fast, but also provide some way to evolve into like nice neighborhoods, so that because I think it's not probably just possible to turn the early like accommodations into something really nice over time. Perhaps then there's a need to actually dismantle and rebuild things, and this kind of idea of building these early accommodations in a way that you can utilize, you can recycle their building components and build something new out of them, so that you don't create a lot of like carbon emissions just because you do the things 2 times. So.
Yeah. Excellent. 2 points about taking the climate approach over here as well, and I think the new innovations around here are inherently have this propriety feature in it as well. So, Jarmo, would you like to comment on the conversation that you heard over here?
Yeah, I think your point of short-term and long-term development is very relevant, and I love your comment about this land and music. But as really the identity of Ukrainians, and I think for the short term, every single new apartment or building should have land. It just should be a regulation that every time you move to this kind of modular house or wherever, you have a piece of land, you can garden. And another thing is to think about the identity. You mentioned Ukrainian architecture. Every single village should build a school. Like Timo was saying, education is so important. School that they could be proud of. I don't mean high-end architecture, but something that is really connecting them to this heritage. And around that, you could build a then community. And then the long-term issue is, I think about social learning. People learn to live together. And there are 4 aspects by Etienne Wenger about the sense of belonging, that you need to create environments that I feel that we are together. And even more important, the sense of becoming, that we do this together. We see the history. And there's a meaning that what we do is meaningful, that the climate and all these things, and then the learning by doing. It's kind of evolvement, not radical innovation. And I think if we got these aspects, it will be great, or possibly. But this first thing I'd like to propose that every single modular house has a land for gardening. I mean, as a regulation.
Yes.
That will bring people together.
Like in Finland, we have sauna.
Yeah. And again, I want to mention that karaoke. In Finland, we have sauna. In Japan, they have karaoke. If in Ukraine, they have gardening. Yeah. I don't know, but I'm just proposing. Let's take that.
Sounds like a cultural innovation over here arising. Please.
Okay. Yes. So I had to write up something what I was thinking. I worked 27 years in social work, and my main aim over there was how to build community in the wilderness with youngsters with the criminal behaviors. and we did quite a lot of this kind of cooperation with different European countries. And what I found out that there are some concepts that are useful for this kind of working for community building is one of these free roof leaves idea is how to make nature's kind of happy home. How to make kind of, if you don't have anything, how you create an environment like it's you should be. It's the idea is that human behaviors in a way that the environment requires. So it's important to see what is the environment we build up around and what we apply from nature. So it's like Ukrainians, they have some ideas of come from the nature, and this is how they see culture through the lenses of their nature, what they have experienced. So I think the important thing is here is like what you said, sensing of belonging. You know, that sense itself should be appreciated. So, well, of course, I could talk about this issue something like several hours, but I think this is enough.
Fantastic approach to this, and happy homes. This is our overall vision, that everybody should have a happy home. So we are following this sequential workshop mode over here, and I would like to also give Igor and our friends in Ukraine and in the display also a time to reflect on what you heard over here, and also give a perspective on what are the important things that you would like to bring in the table at this point. So Olga, Kateryna, Sergiy, please do share some of your observations of this conversation. Sergiy. Добре.
Дякую. Я хотів
you.
ще сказати
I wanted to say also
важливе про будинки побудовані за
something important about the buildings that were built with modular technology. We are now thinking, we're working on this to make it happen that after the war, we create a different territorial set of the country. And the idea is the following. We need to create new regions that are going to be competing with each other. And competing, they're going to be for demography, for labor resource. And for this, it's very important to have houses that are mobile, that can be in a very fast manner and a very affordable manner to be relocated from one region to another region where the conditions are better. But this is a very important social factor, because now a person that has stationary housing, they are, well, how do I put it right? They are, you know, there are nomads, and they're the ones that are settled. You know, I don't know how to put it better. And when we talk about nomads, this is a different mentality, and we have an opportunity opened up for those nomads to provide them with what is in this depressed state. And I think this is a separate factor that could become important for further development of our country.
Я закінчив.
I am done here.
Дякую. Olga, Kateryna, please, any comments? Could ask.
Yes, I wanted to add that this is a very important point about ecosystems, because also wanted to share this experience with healthcare system and how is it connected with CSAs, because it is very hard for refugees to deal with it on the new places to get acquainted with everything. And for example, me, if I have some health problems, it's much easier for me to take a bus from Varna to Kyiv, fix everything there, and then come back, which may sound crazy, but it is as it is. And from my work as a medical interpreter, I can see that there is like a big problem with the health care system in general. And for example, when people need to when they make an appointment with their GPs, they need to go to the city, while they just cannot do that because of their health condition. And well, the organization I'm working in, we are trying to organize everything, but it is very hard to deal with this. And also one thing to, like, in context of designing the architecture of the modular towns, it is also very important to include in planning a place like a private office, like where the people can have appointments with doctors, because how is it right now here in Varna, that sometimes we have a hotel room where we can do everything privately, discuss everything, but sometimes we can do just everything in lobby, and we need to discuss all of these private topics with people while everybody is around and everybody is staying in queue and everybody is hearing everything. And this might be very problematic, for example, when people are dealing with something, something that they don't want to share with their roommates. Maybe there are some psychological problems or any other kind of problems. And also this is just a point that all of these aspects also should be included in designing. If we design from scratch, we have this ability to include all of these problems which we can face with the existing buildings, or we can take into account the experience of like international experience. And yes, that we in Ukraine, we have this ability to do everything from scratch and to try to achieve almost an ideal solution in this context. Thank you.
Thank you, Kateryna. And indeed, there are many frontiers in this situation, and I think you gave us great insights about the one frontier that people have to be fighting. Thank you, Olga. Please.
Yes, thank you very much for this very interesting day-to-day 2 hours together. You know, when I was listening to all the topics and to all the items we were talking about, I was just thinking about 2 things. The first one is that we have to understand that because of the war, this kind of senses that are important for people now that are living here under this rocket attacks, drone attacks, and so on. So we are now a kind of the first stage of the Maslow pyramid. So we are not really thinking about environment. We are not really thinking about sustainability. We are not really thinking about light construction and so on. And the hardest question, I think, for us now is to find this balance between the situation that we are now in and our future and our plans and what country we want to build. And I think that's all was about all these things we were talking about today. And the second thing is that we have, you know, sharpen the saw. So stop doing this this wood sewing, but just sharpen the saw. And I'm happy that we have such a negotiation now, because from your point of view, when you are not in the situation, you are out and above it, you can just help us here in Ukraine to give another view and to point things that somehow, for example, we are not thinking about now. Thank you.
Thank you, Olga. I have to say that I would like to also address a couple of surprises of this one. First surprise is that in mid-April, I will visit Ukraine and mostly in Kyiv. And I'm going to visit my friend Vadim Tokar, who is the mayor of Makariv County, and also the Ministry of Education and Science, Oksen Lisovi. They are friends, and they're thinking about how to rebuild halfly occupied city. And I think all the conversation over here are great points, because now I have something to say to them. So thank you. And Igor, Sergiy, Olga, let's connect and plan to meet in Kyiv. And definitely I would say that Ukraine has now a great opportunity to build a new fantastic identity and a country that is example for all of us. But I think all this that has shown us that all these existential crises, wars, or climate change requires us to think and rethink our mental models. So it means that we've been talking about the culture of building things, which is like how are we going to change that? So then, but the good thing is that all the solutions actually are existing with us. We heard about Sergiy's modular buildings, we heard about Finnish summer cottage or frontman houses or carbon solutions or system of systems. Thinking we all have the ideas already. Now the question is that what do we do about it? And I think that the interesting opportunity we have when we are applying for short-term solutions, they can become a long-term solution. So whatever we do right now, we have to think about that. What is the long-term impact? And Ukraine will win the war. So what happens afterwards? So then, of course, what we are building here will be impacting after war as well. And I think in that sense, we have to be very sensitive to acceptance of how do we humans behave, and because everyday life is always surprising. Everyday life is different that we in a construction environment think of it, or be it a digital solution or a physical solution. So being sensitive to humans and the cultures is crucial for this project, but for the modularity at large. And final point is that it seems that the house is not a house, it's part of the city. City is part of the land. Land is part of the bigger structure. And land is also, and where we are, it's part of our mental states as individuals, but also as a culture. So redefining the culture of building, we are redefining also that who we are as human beings. And I think this redefinition of Ukraine is already ongoing, and it's great that we can be in that journey as well. And I think that final vision is that let's build happy homes and cities for people. I think that's something that we all can agree on. So with these notes, I would like to give speaking to Igor and Kari to finalize and close our session.
Yeah. Thank you, Mikko-Pekka. Wonderful summarizing the feelings what we had here. So I want to thank you, but also you all who were here and then also in Ukraine. Give a big hand for us. But as Igor said in the beginning, this is beginning of the kickoff of the project. So this is only a start. And now we promised to do that we connected now some people in Finland. So one thing what we do, we do a forum of experts. So you will also get a link to our expert forum after that. But that's something what we try to grow. One what we have learned during, at least in Finland, during this preparation is that we have a lot of Ukrainian projects going on in Finland, but they don't know each other. As you said, that you would like to do a lot of things with your city, but you don't know how to do. So that's another thing. We are now connecting these projects which are looking these issues and have something here locally. And I hope that happens also perhaps in Estonia and other places. And then the third thing is that we continue with Sergiy and Ukraine and try to do something so that to have a forum of people who understand each other and have different points of view. That's the starting point. So we would like to do something together again and find ways to do and concrete things. As you said, Jarmo, there that doing then also, not only talking. So these were my final words here. So Igor, floor is yours.
Thank you, Kari. Thank you, colleagues from Finland, from Estonia, from Ukraine, and from other countries that joined us. So we are now also having almost 40 people also participating in our forum today. So I suppose that most of them will be our participants in our skills upgrade session and hackathon. So it's very, very useful and important also for them to hear your ideas, vision, and different frontiers of the problem that we are putting in the center of our project. So thank you everyone for this insight. We want to connect people, we want to connect expertise, and for sure our main aim is to provide interdisciplinary and trans-border solutions that can be used by all our participants, our countries, and different target groups. So thank you once again for participation. We'll be glad to see all of you sometime in Ukraine. So let's keep in touch. Let's join the forum which Kari indicated, the expert forum, and hope to see you soon somewhere or somehow in future. So thank you, colleagues. That was pleasure and good luck.